When we're at like RV parks, and actually it doesn't matter if we're at RV parks or if we're at a gas station or whatever, we quite often get people that walk up to us and they ask us, or they make the comment, hey, I love your RV, and I'm like, hey, thank you. Because I feel like I want to be like honest to these people, and I guess they're just saying in general, I like the way your Airstream looks. And who doesn't? Looks like a big giant aluminum Twinkie, and I love it. It looks great, classic Americano Airstream, but it looks modern. Airstreamers, they'll drive on the highway and pass you and they'll wave at you. No other, I've not noticed that. We used to have a Jayco, and as a Jayco would pass you on the highway, they wouldn't wave at you, but Airstreamers wave at each other every time an Airstreamer sees another Airstreamer. Usually, a lot of times they're friendly, they come up to you, they talk. But anyways, I guess what I want to do is be honest about my Airstream, and are they all that they're cracked up to be? I guess the biggest thing about the Airstream is that, they are very expensive as compared to other trailers. If you're going to get a Airstream, and if it's in the 27-foot range, it's going to cost you around, they want about $100,000 for them. And you can probably get them for less, and I know that you can. We got ours for less than $100,000. But the reason why, you pay this amount of money is because you want something that's going to last. You want something that's top-notch and really good. But are they? One of the big sales things, and you'll always hear these Airstream guys say it from one end of the coast to the other, and they talk about the doors. Oh, it takes 8 man-hours to make one of these things. So that's what they're basically saying. It takes 8 hours to build one of these doors, and they're supposed to be high quality and all that. And they're nice. But what I wanted to do is give you guys an honest opinion of things that have gone wrong with our Airstream, and talk about issues of craftsmanship and durability, and issues and or problems that we've had. So you get this honest kind of a review, if you will. So I'm going to show you what problems we've had. I got pictures of things, and we've had our Airstream in to the shop. If you add up the numerous times we've been in there under warranty work, and we just ended our 1-year mark. In fact, we just came back from that long trip from California all the way to Florida, and at the end of it was like 9,700 miles. We didn't have one single issue. Nothing broke, nothing came apart, and I'm very satisfied with that. But I did want to show you those things, and I will, and one by one we'll break them down as quickly as we can, so you don't get bored out of your brains, just to give you an honest opinion of what you're buying when you buy an Airstream. And we'll go from there. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. Hopefully you'll learn from it, and we'll see if all trailers are built equally. So we are mooch docking at a friend's house in California. We're having another wet and rainy day here, so just bear with me. Like I said, I'm not just trying to say bad things. I don't want to just say bad things about the Airstream. I've got lots of good things to say about it. In general and overall, we love our Airstream. When we searched for what trailer we were going to get after we had our Class C Jayco, we'd go to different RV dealers. The closest trailer we found that we really liked, I would say, would have to be Lance. And to be honest with you, when we were at the Lance dealership, the guy said, hey, if you're looking at Airstream, if you're really stuck on Airstream, just go with the Airstream. Honestly, I appreciate that. He wasn't trying to sell us something maybe we may not want. So I didn't want to start off with just saying bad things about Airstream or the problems we've had with our Airstream, because I wouldn't say that they're bad things. They're just things that happen to us. We love our Airstream because it's one, it's beautiful. Two, we looked at a lot of trailers and the quality just wasn't there compared to the Airstream. And as time has passed, the quality in some of these trailers has seemed to have gotten a lot better in some of them. I love our aluminum interior. I love the way it looks. I like the way the light shines off it. It tows like behind my Ford F-250, no problem. I love the lighting. I'm not going to show you all the lighting in here right now, but that'll come in another video. But it has lighting everywhere. I can open up all the curtains, and the views are really good. But that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about, and the reason why we're talking about this, is because they're expensive. If you're going to spend your money, you want to get the best for your money. So we love those certain things about our Airstream. There are lots more, but that's the gist. And I just don't want to sound like I'm just beating up on Airstream, because I'm not. So that being said, I want to show you some of the problems that we've had with ours. So let's start with number one that bugs me the most. This is my shower. Why am I showing it to you? Yeah, I'm laying on the floor now. So I showed you my shower, the outside of the door, and you know, when we think about design, and especially in the Airstream, the showers in these things are tiny. Maybe they're relatively small for the size of our Airstream. When you go in and out, water leaks to the outside, and the water gathers. I'll show you here. See, the water would gather, come down. You're taking a shower, and it would gather down in here. And there's a little drip pan here. If they made this correctly, maybe they would have tilted the pan this way so that when you're taking a shower, the water runs off the wall and drips inside the shower. This particular one, the water would gather because it's more flat, and then it would drain out the sides here. Drains down the sides, comes down the wall. When we first got this Airstream, it's so weird laying on the floor, but when we first got this paneling here was delaminating, meaning the wood panel portion was coming apart from the wood, and it was bubbling up. I mean, within days we found this. And Airstream did a great job, said, hey, we'll fix it, we'll replace it, no problem. And they did a good job. It took them about 6 weeks to order the large piece of wood that goes all the way around the shower. Then they had to take it all apart, reseal it, and everything. But going back to the water leaking, it leaks. So when you take a shower, the water comes, leaks onto the ground here, and it's just going to continue maybe to delaminate, and that's something we didn't want to deal with. So we went back to Airstream, and we said, hey, you guys replaced this wood paneling, but it's leaking worse now. The water's coming out from this pan, and it almost looks like they made the pan stick up like this, so the water was gathering, and then it would just drip down the side. We had to put a carpet down or a towel down or something to catch the water every time. So they said, no problem, we'll fix it. So they took it in again. They did some resealing. And the thing that bugs me the most, I'll show you here, they bent this whole bar here, and they put a little bend in the middle here. It's really kind of hard to see. They bent it with the hopes that the water would go to one side or the other, and then they took this caulking, because there's now a gap at the bottom. They just took caulk to put in between. Before, this piece was all the way down to here, and it actually covered it. Now, it's not. So ultimately, what does that mean? We had to put in a shower curtain so the water doesn't drip in. We always put down a carpet or a towel or a shower carpet, if you will. We don't want water on the floor, so we have to lay down some kind of thing. No big deal. I think I'm going to go, before our 2-year warranty is up, I'm going to go take this thing to Ohio and have them fix it the right way. All right, next on the list, I'm just going to show you pictures. When we first got our Airstream, we took it home, and for whatever reason, I wanted to go underneath it. Got underneath the Airstream, and lo and behold, I found this. Now what this is a bunch of rust. I'm not a rust expert, but I was flipping out. It was completely rusted all the way to the bottom, from the bumper to the tongue. Again, when I say I'm not a rust expert, I mean, I don't know if that was a surface. It kind of looked like surface, but it was all over the bottom. I took it into the dealership. They said, hey, we've seen this before. We fixed one of these before, which was kind of weird to me. They said sometimes when we get these things delivered from Airstream, it may have been exposed to snow, and then when they put snow down the roads, they put salt on the road, and once they get to our facility, if they've not been washed off, the salt can cause problems. I'm not an expert in this. Maybe that happens. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But they said, hey, we'll fix it. The problem was, it looked like they'd had their junior guy try to fix it. So it looked like they were down there with maybe some sandpaper and a can of spray paint to try to match it. And it was a bad job. I had overspray. I had dripping paint where they had put too much on the bottom. And they had told me, hey, whatever rust there is, we'll fix it. I mean, every nut, every bolt, every connection, whatever. As you could see, some of the connections were like, even the connections were like rusty. I don't know if that's going to cause problems down the road. I told them, hey, one day I'm going to resell this thing. I don't want to have to resell it with, rust on it or have continued problems with it. No problem. We'll fix it. Every nut, every bolt. I said, okay. So this time they had it for several more weeks. And they told me that they had purchased a machine just to sand it, respray paint it. And in my opinion, they did a maybe 95% good job. I still have some rust down there on the shocks, the bolts. Some of the connections still aren't that good. And only time will tell if this stuff will last. I certainly hope it does. So next on the list, our Dometic refrigerator. I'm not going to get into this too much except to show you the inside. Inside you can see condensation gathers here. They put a tray in to catch that moisture. There's some moisture in it right now. In the back there's a little hole. Connected to that, there's a small hose that goes to the outside of the trailer. And it drips outside. They said, no problem, we'll fix it. So we took it into the dealership. We just assumed they fix it. It still dripped. You go on a trip, you have to put towels down on the bottom of the refrigerator. You're always concerned it's going to leak. And we did, and it did leak. So we brought it in again. I believe they added a longer tube, which actually made the water go out the drain. And to be honest with you, we haven't had a problem with it since, so it's working fine. Is this an Airstream issue or is it a Dometic issue? I think it's Dometic. But they fixed it. Well, that's our stove. Why am I talking about the stove? Well, from California. We had gone all the way out to Arizona, and my wife says we started to smell propane, although the detector didn't go off. So we wondered, what the heck is that, right? We checked everything. Everything was off. Bottom line here, to make it quick, the stove was leaking propane. Everything's under warranty, so I didn't try to get back there and fix anything, look for anything. I didn't want to mess anything up. So we called Airstream and said, hey, this thing's leaking propane. And they were like, hey, don't use it. Don't use it, especially while it's leaking. So we had to turn off our propane. We couldn't cook. So another 2 weeks down the road, we didn't have a stove. Again, we took it over to Airstream, and instead of ordering a part from Airstream or Dometic, it's a Dometic stove, they said they just happen to have a brand new stove. So we got a new stove, but even though it was still brand new and we had never really used the oven, we just used the stovetop. So that was another problem. Okay, now here's a problem that I mentioned before when we talked about quality craftsmanship. These are our food cabinets. This is our microwave that slides out. And this is just a spice drawer, whatever. Now from day one, while the trailer was still in the Airstream dealership, we noticed that the cabinets were rubbing. I'll show you, for example, right here, and you can still see them, they're way off. These actually still rub. These lines right here, you can see the top and bottom, they're rubbing. So what happened with that? I don't know. When we had it at the dealership, they go, oh, I don't know what the issue is with that. We'll just adjust it. That's what's wrong with it. Fine. So they adjusted it. We go down the road a couple hundred miles, and we notice that they're already rubbing again. Back to rubbing again. I don't know what the deal is. I know that you can't just adjust wood screws into wood. If they're stripped, if they're worn, it's just going to go back to where they were. We brought the Airstream back in to Airstream numerous times to have this fixed. And this is a year later. We're almost tired of dealing with it. At one point, one of the guys at the dealership said, hey, that's just wear and tear. I said, but it came that way. You guys should have fixed it from day one. And in fact, one person at the dealership said, we're going to fix it. We're just going to order a new cabinet and we'll just replace it. But then after I guess they had their discussion and they decided, no, we're just going to keep trying to fix it. They claimed Airstream's just going to call this wear and tear, even though it's been like this from the beginning.
So do we have to live with that? I don't think so. I'm going to have them fix it again. It'll be probably the 4th or 5th time we've had them adjust these cabinets. So that's what I mean. We're talking about craftsmanship. It's supposed to be done right, and that's an issue, another one we've had. While we're on the same subject, this microwave one day, and it's all due to that right there. I don't know if you can see it, little cabinet. There's some spacers in there now. Let me see if you can see that. There's little spacers up in between that little latch that latches onto that. Maybe I'm just nitpicking. But hey, we were going on another trip. We had to pull over to use the restroom. We come inside. That door that holds the microwave was wide open. The microwave was hanging halfway off because that clip, that little part that holds the door closed, doesn't hold it well enough for maybe the weight of the microwave. The whole door came up. That thing almost hit the ground. I mean, if we would have gone a little bit further, that microwave would have hit the ground. It would have damaged the floor. And I don't know whose fault that would be. Mine, Airstream's. But they put those little washers in there to extend that clip down, and it hasn't opened up since. To me, that's like a design issue. We've considered not even putting the microwave in there, just taking it out because we don't really use it that much. And it might be better used for storage or something like that. All right, this one's one of my favorite ones. Like I mentioned previously, Airstream brags about their 8 man-hour door that is a high-quality door. And it's a good door. The problem is not the door, I guess. It seals really tight. You really have to slam these things to get them to close all the way. And that's fine because I'd rather have a good seal. The problem is the screen door. The screen door, if you've got the door open and it's just the screen door closed, and if it's not sealed properly, we were just getting bugs in all the time. So we took it in and they didn't really adjust it. They right in front of me, they kind of bent the door, you know, they're like lean on it, lift it, and because it's aluminum, I guess you can do that. But that thing's been janky, wonky since we've had the thing. It's kind of rubs on the roof and it kind of rubs on the bottom, and I don't know. I'm just tired of dealing with it. Look, every trailer has problems, and I understand that. We understand that. But we've had maybe our share of decent problems. And I have a list of things. We've had the water heater worked on numerous times to adjust the flame, because when you turn on the propane heater portion of it, it would just, I mean, the flame was very erratic and noisy. And I'd hear other people's and they're nice and quiet. Even on my previous RV, it was nice and quiet. This one is extremely loud. We've had that fixed probably 3 times. Adjusted, never really adjusted correctly. It is what it is. So like every trailer that you put on the road, it bounces up and down, gets, you know, it's rumbling on the inside. We've had our fair share of those issues too, and we're not complaining about those. We understand there's maintenance, little maintenance issues you got to deal with all the time. We've had lots of other little minor issues with this that we've been able to fix, or Airstream themselves had fixed, and so far things have been pretty good, and we haven't been back to the dealership in months. I'm glad, though, we have a 2-year warranty with this to make sure, you know, we work out the little issue. And we just want to say as well, our Airstream dealership, Bay Area Airstream in California, has been excellent as far as when we tell them we have a problem, they fix it. No matter what the problem is, they at least work on it. Maybe it doesn't get fixed perfectly the first time. That's something else. But I'm very happy with Bay Area Airstream. I'm sure if we went there today and said, hey, we had this issue, they would fix whatever we asked them to fix. So I'm glad we have a good dealership. And if you're going to buy an Airstream, I suggest buying it from an Airstream dealer. Just don't buy it from some dealership that sells 10 different kinds of trailers. Buy it from an Airstream dealer. They'll know how to work on things. I think Airstreams, like any trailer, have their own problems that Airstream knows about that they can fix easily. And we do still have some little issues with cabinets, like screws being stripped out. We've got, you know, a couple rivets. If you own an Airstream, you understand this. And if you are going to buy an Airstream, understand this, that the rivets do come out commonly, I guess. And we've probably had 4 that have come out, which is not bad for the 10, 12, 15,000 miles we put on this thing. You know, you do have to get in there. You have to adjust screws like every trailer you'd have to do. A lot of the maintenance things you have to do. you have to fix and you should stay up on. So again, we're not trying to be bummers here. I just want to help you guys out. If you're going to look at an Airstream or any trailer, take your time, go through it, every inch of it, make sure everything's to your standard, the way you like it, before you drive that thing home. Because even when you get it home, you'll find more issues. Even when you drive it down the road, it's going to shake and things will fall apart. So just do your little maintenance and you'll be fine. So just make sure that you check these things out good before you pull them off the lot. You'll save yourself a lot of headache down the road. So we didn't cover everything. There's lots of little things. Don't get caught up on those little things like that. The important thing is to get out there. That's what we did. We decided we needed to hit the road, and then we decided that we wanted an Airstream. The important thing is use what you have. Get out there. Don't wait for the perfect rig to come along. You won't know what the perfect rig is until you're actually out there and use it. And you'll find out what suits you, what you like, what you don't like. So just get out there. Have fun. Go see the country while you can. And enjoy it. Take your kids. Take the dogs. But have fun. So thanks for watching. It was a long video. Our next video coming up is going to be a tour of our rig. Maybe some of the products that we use that we found useful over the last few years. Not just in the Airstream, but in our other RV that we had. We've had a lot of hit and miss with products. Some were worthless. Some worked out really good. Some of the stuff is about not wasting your money and buying the right stuff the first time. We will catch you on the next video. Talk to you later.